The story begins on a warm September morning in Seattle, Washington, when Emily Thompson felt her life shift in a way she could not yet name. She had always believed her home was steady, built on trust and the long quiet love she had shared with her husband Daniel. For nearly 10 years, their marriage had weathered job changes, long nights with their newborn daughter, and the slow drift that sometimes comes when two people grow in different directions without noticing. Yet Emily still believed. A soft bond tied them together, something honest and familiar, something worth holding on to. She had recently hired a nanny, not because she wanted extra help, but because her workload at the hospital kept expanding. Her shifts stretched longer, leaving fewer hours for her little girl, Lily, and even fewer moments for rest. She fought guilt every time she left the house before sunrise, knowing she would return just in time to kiss her daughter goodnight. Still, she told herself she was doing what she needed to do for her family, and Daniel reassured her that this was temporary. The nanny, Asha, had come recommended by a coworker. She was 24, soft-spoken, and carried a warm kindness that made Lily cling to her instantly. Emily liked her right away. Asha brought calm into the home, humming gentle songs while rocking Lily, preparing small meals, and keeping the house in a peaceful rhythm. For the first few weeks, everything felt smoother, everything felt lighter, yet beneath that calm surface, Emily felt a strange pull in the air, a tension she kept brushing aside. Sometimes she would come home early and find Daniel and Asha talking quietly in the kitchen, nothing alarming, but their conversations paused just a second too late, their smiles lingering just a moment too long. Emily told herself she was imagining things. She blamed exhaustion, the long shifts, the endless cycle of caretaking at work and at home. Still, the feeling did not leave her. It sat in her chest like a soft pain, something she could not explain. She tried to shake it off, tried to focus on Lily and work and the upcoming anniversary trip she and Daniel had planned. But even then, when she looked at him across the dinner table, she wondered when his eyes had grown distant, when his voice had turned quieter. One afternoon, after an unexpected schedule change at the hospital, Emily drove home earlier than usual. The sun was still bright, the air warm. She felt oddly excited to surprise Lily, maybe even surprise Daniel with a quiet dinner. She parked in the driveway and noticed an unfamiliar stillness inside the house. No humming, no soft baby giggles, just silence. Emily stepped carefully through the door, her bag slipping off her shoulder, something inside her body tightening as though it already knew what her mind did not. She called out for Lily, but no answer came. She moved toward the living room and saw Lily asleep in her playpen, peaceful, unaware of the growing storm around her. Emily felt relief, but it was quickly replaced by a creeping confusion. She listened, her heartbeat growing louder. Then she heard something faint upstairs, not voices exactly, but the sound of movement, hurried, uneven, unfamiliar. Her hands trembled as she took the first step toward the staircase, not because she expected the worst, but because she feared the unknown. She tried to calm herself, tried to remind herself that she trusted her husband, trusted the nanny, trusted the home she had built. She reached the top of the stairs and noticed their bedroom door was half closed, a thin line of light glowing from inside. Emily paused, gripping the railing, her chest tightening with something sharp and deep. She pushed the door open gently, not ready, not prepared, not wanting to see anything that would break her world. What she saw did not come in graphic images or loud noises. It came in the carved silence, in the way Daniel and Asha froze, standing too close, their faces flushed with shock, guilt, and something Emily could not name. Asha's hair was messy, her shirt rumpled. Daniel's expression shattered when he saw Emily standing there, his voice breaking into pieces as he tried to form her name. Emily felt the air leave her body, like her heart had been pulled out through her ribs. Yet no tears came, no shouting, no explosive rage, just a hollow, ringing stillness, a numbness so deep it frightened her. It was as if her mind had shielded itself, refusing to understand, refusing to accept what her eyes already knew. Daniel stepped forward, trying to speak. But Emily lifted her hand, not trusting her voice, not trusting the world around her. Everything felt wrong, too sharp, too bright, too loud. Even though no one was speaking, she turned away, her limbs stiff, her breath shaky, and walked down the stairs without looking back. Her heart pounded in her ears, but her face remained still. She reached the living room and looked at Lily, her tiny chest rising and falling with each innocent breath. A wave of heartbreak washed over her. Not for what she saw upstairs, but for the life she thought she had, the life she believed was real. Emily sank onto the couch, the room spinning around her. Daniel came down slowly, guilty, uncertain, his voice trembling as he tried to explain, but Emily could not listen. Her thoughts rushed in messy circles, memories mixing with fears, hope blending with betrayal, everything tangled, everything aching. Asha stayed at the top of the stairs, tearful, frozen, her hands shaking. Emily could not look at her. She did not want to hear apologies, did not want to watch her family crumble piece by piece in front of her eyes. The house felt smaller now, crushed under the weight of a truth she never wanted to hold. Emily took Lily gently into her arms and held her close, drawing strength from her tiny warmth. She looked at Daniel, her eyes hollow, her voice barely a whisper. "How long?" she asked, not shouting, not crying, just asking because she needed air, needed clarity, needed something to hold on to. Daniel opened his mouth, but the words refused to come. His silence was an answer in itself. Emily felt her heart crack again, deeper this time, a quiet pain, a pain that spread slowly like ink in water. She stood up, holding Lily tighter, and walked toward the front door. Daniel called her name again, pleading, desperate, but Emily did not stop. As she stepped outside into the warm air, her grief met the wind, mixing with it, becoming part of something larger and heavier than she could manage. She did not know what would happen next, did not know if she could ever forgive, ever rebuild, ever trust again, but she knew one thing. This was the moment everything changed, the moment her world split in two, and the road ahead was only beginning to show its shape, filled with questions, fear, and the echo of a love she no longer recognized. Emily drove aimlessly through the quiet Seattle streets, her hands trembling on the wheel, her breath unsteady. She did not know where she was going, only that she could not stay in that house, not with the image of Daniel and Asha still burning behind her eyes. Lily slept in the back seat, unaware of the earthquake that had torn their family apart. Every few minutes, Emily glanced at her daughter, trying to find strength in her innocence, but her heart kept sinking, heavy and shaken. She finally pulled into a small lakeside parking lot, a place she and Daniel used to visit before life became crowded with responsibilities. The water shimmered in the late afternoon light, calm and steady, everything Emily wished she could feel. She stepped out, holding Lily close, letting the breeze brush against her face, trying to breathe through the rising panic. Her phone buzzed again and again, but she could not bring herself to answer. She knew the messages were from Daniel, maybe even from Asha, maybe apologies, maybe explanations, but Emily was not ready for any of it. Her mind felt too full, like every thought collided with the next, turning everything into noise. She sat on a bench near the water, her legs weak, her emotions tangled. She remembered the early days of her marriage, the way Daniel used to look at her like she was the center of his world. She remembered the promises they made, quiet and simple, the kind of promises you believe will last forever. Now those memories felt distant, like they belonged to someone else. When Lily woke up and started fussing, Emily rocked her gently, whispering soft words even though her voice cracked. She kept wondering where she had gone wrong, what she could have done differently. She questioned every moment, every gesture, every choice. It was a painful trap, one she knew she should not fall into, but heartbreak rarely listened to reason. After an hour, Emily drove to her sister's house in Bellevue, hoping for a small refuge. Her sister, Claire, opened the door with concern already on her face. Emily had texted her only one sentence: "I'm coming over, it's bad." And that alone had been enough. Claire pulled her into a tight embrace, and for the first time since everything shattered, Emily allowed herself to cry, not loud, not messy, but with quiet trembling tears that felt like they had been stuck for years. Claire held her while Lily clung to her mother's shoulder, watching both women with wide, confused eyes. Inside, the living room smelled of vanilla candles, calm and warm. Claire made tea without asking questions, giving Emily space to breathe. When she finally sat down on the couch, her voice was barely a whisper as she explained what she had walked into. The shock on Claire's face was immediate, then anger, a deep protective anger that made Emily feel slightly safer. "How could he do that to you?" Claire asked, her voice trembling. "How could anyone hurt you like this?" Emily shook her head, unable to answer. Her heart felt like it had been pushed beyond its limits, too exhausted to form words. Claire placed a blanket around her and let her rest, occasionally checking on Lily, keeping the house quiet and steady. Hours passed before Emily's phone finally went silent, the messages stopping, the calls ceasing. She knew Daniel would eventually show up or send something longer, something emotional, but she still was not ready. Her heart felt raw, like touching it would only deepen the wound. That night, after Lily had fallen asleep, Emily sat on the couch staring at the dim reflection of the lamp in the window. Claire sat beside her, patient and calm. "What are you going to do?" Claire asked gently. Emily whispered, "I don't know." She did not know whether to leave Daniel, Whether to confront him more deeply, whether to demand answers or simply shut everything out, the confusion felt suffocating, a fog covering every possible path. Claire placed a hand on her shoulder. "Whatever you choose, you're not alone." Emily nodded, grateful, but her heart remained unsettled, heavy. She knew she had to talk to Daniel eventually, but the thought made her chest tighten. The next morning, Emily woke early, her body stiff from a night of restless sleep. She checked on Lily, who giggled at the sight of her mother, offering a moment of warmth that helped Emily hold herself together. She made a quiet breakfast, still unable to eat much, her stomach twisted by anxiety. Then came the soft knock on the door. Emily froze, her hands gripping the counter. Claire exchanged a quick look with her and moved to answer it, but Emily stopped her, breathing in slowly before she walked to the door herself. When she opened it, she saw Daniel standing there, his face pale, eyes tired, shoulders slumped. He looked like a man who had not slept at all, like a man carrying the weight of his own choices. "Emily," he said softly, his voice breaking. She stepped outside to avoid waking Lily, closing the door gently behind her. Daniel ran a hand through his hair, struggling to find the right words. "Please, just let me explain." Emily swallowed hard. "Explain what?" "Explain how you betrayed me in our home? In our room? With someone we trusted." Her voice trembled, not with anger but with deep, aching hurt. Daniel's eyes filled with guilt. "It was a mistake, a horrible mistake." Emily shook her head. "A mistake doesn't happen like that, Daniel. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary, missing a call. You made choices." He nodded slowly, tears in his eyes. "You're right, I'm not going to pretend you're wrong," his voice cracked. "But I need you to know that it wasn't about you, it never was." Emily felt a sharp sting in her chest. She hated that part of her still cared about what he meant, still wanted answers even though she feared them. Daniel continued, each word heavy. "We drifted, I felt lonely, you were always exhausted, always working, and I should have talked to you, I should have tried harder." Emily closed her eyes, tears slipping down her face. "I was working for us, for our family, you knew that." "I know," Daniel said quickly. "And I failed you, I failed us." Emily hugged her arms around herself, trying to steady the shaking in her spine. "How long?" she asked. Again, needing clarity even if it hurt. Daniel hesitated, only a second this time. "A few weeks." Emily felt her chest tighten again, a soft pain spreading. It hurt more knowing it was not a single moment but something repeated, something chosen over and over. "Is she in love with you?" Emily asked, her voice almost too soft to hear. Daniel shook his head. "No, it wasn't like that, it was wrong, all of it was wrong, and I ended it the moment you saw us." Emily's breath hitched. "You ended it because you got caught." Those words hung in the air like a blade. Daniel lowered his gaze, unable to argue. Emily looked past him, staring at the quiet street, the pale morning sky, trying to steady herself. This conversation answered nothing and everything at the same time. She felt no closer to forgiveness, no closer to clarity, only deeper in heartbreak. "Where is Asha?" Emily asked unexpectedly. Daniel looked surprised. "She left, she quit. She said she couldn't face you, she's gone." Emily felt a strange twist in her stomach, anger mixing with sadness. She had trusted that woman with her child, with her home, with her peace. Emily took a step back, feeling the cold edge of reality settling in. "I need time," she whispered. "I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I can fix this." Daniel nodded slowly, his voice breaking. "Take all the time you need. I'll wait, I'll do whatever it takes." Emily did not answer. She walked back into the house, closing the door quietly, leaving Daniel standing on the porch with regret carved into every part of him. Inside, Claire looked at her with gentle worry. "Are you okay?" Emily shook her head, her voice trembling. "No, but I'm trying." The day passed slowly, heavy with questions. Emily kept Lily close, drawing strength from her little presence. She spent the evening sitting on the back porch, watching the sky shift from gold to pink to deep blue. Her heart ached, her mind tired, her future uncertain, but deep inside, a small spark began to form, not hope exactly but something like resolve, a quiet determination to rebuild herself even if everything else around her had fallen apart. As night settled in, Emily knew nothing would ever be the same again, and the choices she made next would decide the shape of her life. The morning after Daniel's visit, Emily woke with a heaviness that made her chest feel tight. The air in Claire's guest room felt still, like the world was holding its breath with her. She sat up slowly, listening to Lily babbling softly in her crib, that innocent sound reminding her there was still something pure and steady in her life, something untouched by betrayal. She lifted Lily into her arms and held her close, breathing in her warmth, trying to gather strength for the day ahead. Claire made breakfast, calm and quiet, giving Emily space to think. But Emily's thoughts felt tangled, sharp in some places and hazy in others. She knew she could not hide in her sister's house forever. She needed to face reality, not run from it. She needed to decide what came next, and that idea scared her more than anything. By noon, Emily took a drive to clear her head. She strapped Lily into her seat and began moving along the familiar Seattle streets, passing neighborhoods she and Daniel had once dreamed of living in, passing cafes they used to visit, passing memories that now felt bittersweet. Every intersection held something she remembered, something that made her heart pinch. She found herself at a quiet park near Lake Union, a place she had gone often during maternity leave, the place where she had watched other parents push strollers and wondered what her own family's future would look like. She sat on a bench with Lily in her lap, staring at the water moving in gentle waves. The world around her felt peaceful, but inside she felt a storm shifting. For days she had been asking herself the same question: should she stay or should she leave? But both answers felt heavy, both paths full of pain. Staying meant learning how to trust again. Leaving meant breaking apart a life she had built over a decade. Neither choice felt right, but doing nothing felt worse. While she watched the water, an older woman passed by and paused when she saw Emily. Her face was lined with age but soft with kindness. She smiled at Lily and then at Emily. "You look like you're carrying something heavy," she said gently. Emily swallowed hard, surprised by how quickly tears came to her eyes. "I am," she whispered. The woman sat beside her as if she had been meant to. "Whatever it is," she said softly, "you'll survive it, even if you don't think you will today." Emily felt her throat tighten. "How do you know?" The woman smiled sadly. "Because I survived mine." She did not ask for details. She did not need to. That brief moment of human connection was enough. Enough to remind Emily she was not the first person to feel this kind of pain, not the first person to face this kind of choice. When the woman walked away, Emily felt a small shift inside her, a spark of courage she had not felt in days. Later that afternoon, Emily drove back to Claire's house, calmer now, ready to take the next step. She sat in the living room watching Lily play with blocks on the carpet. Claire joined her quietly, waiting. "I need to go home," Emily said at last, her voice steady. "Not to forgive him, not to pretend everything is okay. I just need to see the house again. I need to see what's left." Claire nodded. "Do you want me to come with you?" Emily shook her head gently. "No, I need to do this alone." She drove back to her house with a heart that trembled but did not break. When she pulled into the driveway, everything felt strangely familiar and foreign at the same time. She stepped inside slowly, breathing in the scent of home, a scent that felt comforting and painful all at once. The living room looked exactly as she left it, the blanket folded neatly, Lily's toys in their basket, the sunlight falling softly across the floor. Nothing here showed the storm that had happened inside her heart. Emily walked around the house, touching small memories with her fingertips, the framed photos, the baby books, the soft sweater she always left on the couch. When she reached the bedroom door, she paused. That room held the moment everything shattered, the moment she lost the version of her life she thought she had. She stepped inside slowly, the air thick with memories. She looked around and for the first time felt the full weight of betrayal pressing against her chest. She sat on the edge of the bed, letting the grief wash through her, letting herself feel everything she had tried to push down. As she sat there, she realized something important. The pain she felt was real, deep and raw, but it did not erase who she was. It did not erase her strength. It did not erase her future. She had been broken, but she was not destroyed. That night, Daniel came home quietly, unsure if she would still be there, unsure what to expect. When he walked in and saw her sitting in the living room holding Lily, he froze. "Emily," he whispered, his voice full of fear and hope. She motioned for him to sit, not angry, not yelling, just tired, deeply tired. "I came back," she said softly, "because I needed to see what was left of our life." Daniel nodded, his eyes full of regret. "I'm sorry," he whispered again, as if saying it would somehow fix what he had broken. Emily shook her head gently. "Sorry can't undo it. You hurt me in a way I never thought you could." Daniel's shoulders sank. "I know. I'm not here to forgive you today," she continued, her voice steady despite the ache inside her. "I'm not ready for that. Maybe I never will be." Daniel swallowed hard, bracing himself. "But I am here," Emily said. "And I'm willing to see if there's anything left to build on." Daniel's eyes widened, surprised. "You're willing to try?" Emily nodded slowly. "Not for us," she said. "Not yet, maybe not ever. I'm doing it for Lily. She deserves parents who try their best to heal, Even if they don't end up together. Daniel wiped his eyes, ashamed and grateful all at once. I'll do whatever it takes, he said quietly. I'll go to therapy, I'll take responsibility, I'll give you all the time you need. Emily looked at him, not with love, not with anger, but with clarity. I'm not promising anything, she said. But I'm not giving up on myself either. The next weeks were slow, painful and full of uncertainty. Emily moved into the guest room wanting space, needing distance. She started therapy on her own, learning how to heal, how to rebuild her sense of self, how to understand her emotions without drowning in them. Daniel started therapy too, not to win her back, but to face what he had done, to understand why he had broken something he once held dear. They spoke sometimes, quietly, carefully, never pushing too hard. Never pretending things were okay. It was not forgiveness, it was not reconciliation. It was simply effort, slow and imperfect. Emily spent many evenings walking with Lily through their neighborhood, letting the fresh air clear her mind, letting the soft breeze touch her face, letting her heart find space to breathe, and slowly, she felt herself getting stronger, not because of Daniel, not because of time, but because she chose to stand even when life tried to break her. Months passed, not smooth but steady. Emily learned to separate her pain from her identity. She was more than heartbreak, more than betrayal, more than the moment that shattered her. She began finding joy in small things again. Lily's laughter, the morning sun, the quiet peace of a fresh cup of coffee. She began living again, piece by piece. One winter afternoon, Emily stood at the lake where she had first gone after leaving the house, watching the soft ripples move across the water. Lily held her hand, smiling up at her. Emily realized something important. She did not know yet whether her marriage would survive, but she knew she would. She had found strength in the pain, clarity in the chaos, and a new sense of who she was beneath all the heartbreak. Daniel joined her at the lake, standing beside her without speaking, respectful, quiet, unsure. Emily looked at him, not with the fear of the past, but with the courage of someone who had rebuilt her own heart. We're not healed, she said softly. But we're trying. Daniel nodded gently. And I'm here. Emily watched the water glimmer under the winter light, feeling something shift inside her. Not forgiveness, not certainty, but a gentle hope. A hope shaped not by what was lost, but by what she had found within herself.